Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Corvette once again. You guys might be wondering what we're working on today. Well, today we're actually going to get started on the clutch replacement. What we're going to be installing today is a Mcleod RXT clutch that's good for like 1,000 horsepower and I believe 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. Not that we're anywhere near that, but as you guys know, have you seen in the previous videos, you know, we've had clutch sticking issues, and I'm quite simply almost 200 wheel horsepower over what the stock LS7 clutch is rated for the factory. I think those clutches are good for up to around 600 wheel. You know, we're at 650 wheel, but by the end of this project, hopefully we're closer to 700 wheel. So, you know, we're already 150 horsepower over the factory clutch rating. So, that being said, you know, we're going to do a couple mods and upgrades while we're in there. But since we're going to be tearing the car apart, you know, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to this car. And before we get started, I actually have, as you guys know, we've launched new merchandise, and this shirt just came in the mail today. And as you guys can see, it's the BonecrrusherSS channel logo with the gear around it on the front. And on the back, I'm actually really proud of how well this turned out. You know, it's the channel name with the LSA blower off the SS with the AN fittings and whatnot, and the social media stuff down below. But I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but that detail turned out really well. And I think that that's really just a cool picture, guys. Like, I'm real proud of that. And I actually did create that myself. I just took a picture, applied a filter to it, photoshopped, you know, what I had to out of it, and came up with that. So that's the SS shirt. You guys have already seen the Corvette shirt. We say in almost every video. The link to the shirts and everything else is down in the description below. Now that we've said that, let's get started on the install. Alright guys, as you can see, I don't have any more mufflers in here. I already pulled those out. We're going to get the O2 sensors disconnected, the long tube headers disconnected from the X pipe, and we'll get all this out. Alright guys, that's the last bolt. And I managed not to lose any of the washers. I've run into that in the past. Alright guys, now the headers are both basically ready to drop out. I need to disconnect the O2 sensor from this side. I'm just unplugging it. Alright guys, as you can see, we got the entire exhaust system off the Corvette. Of course, the catback, Cook's mid pipe, and the Cook's log tube headers. install, we got the rear subframe, the transmission, the torque tube all came out, and we've gone over that before. I didn't really decide to go into depth details about that. Honestly, it's just removing bolts. The only thing you might have to worry about is disconnecting the brake line here on the driver's side, here on the other part of the driver's side, because that eventually feeds over to the passenger side. And you might want to also disconnect it from here, just FYI. Now, the transmission's out, axles are all out, torque tube is out, and that is not that's a backup transmission. So trans is out. As you guys can see, we've been busy under here. As you guys can see, we got the bell housing out, we got the clutch out, and we got the flywheel out, and all that came out relatively easy. Just take a bunch of bolts out, and you'll notice I have the slave cylinder disconnected. All I did was simply remove it from the bell housing and disconnected the two fittings. There's a pin holding this line, and this is simply, I just used a adjustable compressor wrench. Pulled all that out, and it came out really no big deal. Here's the Z06 clutch. Honestly, guys, this clutch isn't that worn. However, there are a bunch of hot spots on the flywheel and the pressure plate. So here's the flywheel. Y'all are gonna see a bunch of hot spots all like in it. And actually, probably the worst part of this whole setup is the pressure plate. And as you guys can see, it almost looks like it scorched it right here, here, and here. That could have actually been the last time we drag raced. I don't know. So this clutch disc, there is still some grooves in it, as you can see. And well, I don't know. That's actually filled with dust, but the grooves are worn down a bit, and we may have been able to keep this clutch. But you know what, guys? We're upgrading for a reason. And what we're replacing the Z06 clutch with is this twin disc. You guys can see it's the RXT. So it's got the separate little pucks on both discs on the top and bottom. As you guys can see, you got your middle piece, then your Mcleod RXT pressure plate. And that'll be going in. And here's the flywheel, and we will be reusing the ARP bolts that hold the flywheel to the crankshaft, because those will fit just fine. The ARP bolts that I had for the LS7 clutch that held the pressure plate to the actual flywheel itself will not work. The twin disc setup is obviously taller and has a different mounting style, and that's what those bolts in that bag are. So we finally got to the clutch install, and you guys may have noticed that we have already removed the input bearing. Yes, it's only a few years old, but I think when I took the transmission out last time, I think I may have made it oval shaped, because it wasn't perfectly circular anymore. So that may have been kind of some of the problems I was having with the clutch sticking. So we have a new input bearing to put in. So the next step will be to get back under the car, get the flywheel, the clutch disc, and all that stuff set up. Alright guys, as you saw from the time lapse, we have the new flywheel, the Mcleod twin disc clutch, the RXT. We got the bell housing back on, and we have actually tightened down all of the bell housing bolts. We really didn't miss anything. The only thing you guys really need to know is the flywheel bolts are tight torqued down to 3 steps. I think it's like 15, 37, and 81. And then the intermediate flywheel on the twin disc is 25 foot-pounds, and the pressure plate from Mcleod is 35 foot-pounds. So that's pretty much it, you know, just to get the old clutch out, put the new one in, torque everything down to spec, and you're pretty much good to go. We took the torque tube out, we did some work on that, that'll be in a different video. Now we're gonna get the torque tube in, the trans, suspension, all the wiring, and we also have to do the hydraulics for the throwout bearing, all that good stuff. Alright guys, as you can see, we have the new transmission jack holding up the trans. I have gotten the transaxle connected to the torque tube, and I still have a floor jack under the torque tube. They're kind of just both there for safety. They're not really holding much pressure. Actually, the floor jack would be holding more pressure than the trans jack at this point. I have started reconnecting all of the hoses for the diff cooler, the braces up top. I torqued all of the bell housing to transaxle bolts. Those all torqued down to 37 foot-pounds. We torqued all that. I have started replugging in everything. The one thing, like I said earlier, make sure you guys plug in the reverse lockout. It's the very top. It's kind of easy to miss. Otherwise, your transmission will not go in reverse, and you'll think you have a bad transmission. But it's secretly just a plug that you need to put in. So that's pretty much the update. And also, as you guys can tell, we also have the torque tube plugged in, and we got all that reassembled. So, alright guys, we're wrapping up the Mcleod clutch install video. As you guys can see, the car is kind of in pieces still, but we've put it back together. We've gotten the exhaust, we've gotten the torque tube, we've gotten a lot of parts installed, we've got the interior put back together. As you guys can see, we've got the shifter, the center console, and the lid is all back in the car. So the interior's all been put back together, the hydraulics for the clutch have been hooked up. And guys, I seriously struggled trying to get this clutch hydraulics hooked back together. Now I will say this, I think I've said this in the other clutch video I did. What I did was I used the 2005 GM factory original end piece for the clutch slave cylinder. Before I put the slave cylinder in the car, I took it apart. There's this little plastic piece. I don't think I have one out. Actually, I'll show you right here. So what I did was I swapped this end out, this end piece out, with the piece that originally came on the car. So that is my second hydraulic clutch kit that we've replaced, and that I put on, I swapped that piece back to the original. Because when I did this swap 2 years ago, for whatever reason, that casting and the master cylinder casting that's in the car just will not line up. I don't know, something changed the later models. I talked about this in the video from, God, probably about a year ago. But, you know, we talked about that, and that thing would not fit. So I wasn't going to risk it this time. I was like, screw it. Just go ahead and swap the 2005 original slave cylinder end piece for that. I had no problem with that. It didn't leak. It didn't bind. It didn't cause any issues. So fair warning, you may have to disassemble that, and that just pops off with a retaining clip. Now the thing I wanted to show you was, now if you're down under the car, take this splash guard off, take that off, and then take the inner fender liner off. And the clutch hydraulics, guys, are literally right here. They're literally behind this panel. And guys, that will save you so much time. Yes, it's maybe an extra 15 minutes of work of getting the RPM, the splash guard off and the fender liner off. But trust me guys, I was trying to be in the engine bay, above it, trying to reach around and disconnect this thing. If you work at it from this side, which honestly guys is probably the way you're supposed to, I don't know. I've never really read the clutch install instructions, or the master cylinder or slave cylinder replacement instructions. If you work at it from right here, there's probably like a 3 or 4 inch opening in the frame. It's right there. It's still kind of a pain to work on, but work on it from right here, not from above. You will save yourself so much time. And the last piece of information I want to share with you guys is this alignment tool for the MGW shifter. Now, if you guys have a stock shifter assembly, you really don't have anything to worry about. You just put the shifter assembly back in and send it. But with the MGW, you guys have to make sure that that base plate, the plate that screws into the torque tube, has to be aligned properly. If it's not, your shifts will not be crisp. your shifts will be inaccurate and you could miss gears and potentially go like a 4 into 2, you know, downshift in the wrong gear and blow the motor. So fair warning on that. So what you guys need to do is, I saved this, I didn't throw this out. You take the shifter assembly apart. There's 4 Allen head screws, actually threaded stops. Back those out. And then there's 4 Allen head screws. Take those out. Take this shifter apart. Put this alignment tool in the base. Bolt this in the base to the car. Make sure this is centered and it doesn't move when you bolt it in. And then once you're done with that and the base plate is attached to the torque tube, take this back out. Put your shifter back in. Put those 8 pieces of hardware button head screws and then the thread inserts. Put those in and you're golden. Hope this install video helped you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, give it a big thumbs up. If you guys haven't already subscribed, please do. Also, if you want to know when I upload new content, hit that bell notification button down below. And also, if you want to help support the channel, as always, click all the links down below. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.